Hello, Nicotine2. I wanted to make a quick video response to your video about free will and determinism, and I just want to get through the 2 points that you brought up really quickly because I really need to get to bed because I have a long day ahead of me tomorrow. So, I'm a determinist myself, and I'm going to attempt this undertaking. First of all, the first point you brought up was that it seems intuitively it seems intellectually obvious that determinism is true, but it seems more intuitively obvious that it's not. It seems intuitively obvious that you could have made choice B rather than choice A, and that we're surrounded with genuine free will choices all around us every day. I would have to say that when you're confronted with a philosophical conclusion that you've drawn versus your intuition, I would generally go with the philosophical conclusion because you can draw a logical map as to why that one's true. Now, if you want to do such a thing with your intuition, that's fine too, and you can obviously compare which one is better versus your intuition versus the philosophical conclusion that you drew, and I do that kind of thing all the time. But you cannot simply trust your intuition just because it's there. I mean, if we as a human race did that, then we'd still be believing that the world is flat and that the whole universe revolves around the world and such nonsense like that. So that's partly why I'm a determinist. The other thing that you brought up was about the machine. If there was a machine that knew everything and knew everything that was going on in your brain, it could theoretically make a printout of all the actions that you would do, and if you saw that printout, then you could go against those actions, thereby breaking the whole concept of determinism. Now, I find this to be a very interesting question. It actually took me a few minutes to think about this one, but here's my thoughts on it so far. First of all, the machine would know whether or not you were the kind of person who would actually follow the printout, or who would actually regard it, or who would actually try to go against it. If you were not the kind of person who would try to go against it, then it could make a 100% accurate printout, no problem. However, if it knew that you were the kind of person who would go against it, which I imagine you are, then it would also know that you reading you would read the printout, it would know that, and that you reading the printout would change the information in your brain that would cause you to act differently, so it would have to account for that within the printout, but then it would know that you reading that information that it's accounted for would also change the information in your brain, and so on and so forth. Basically, if the machine says you will do A, and you read this, and you decide to do B instead, the machine would have known that you would have decided to do B, and it would have written you will do B instead, but then it would have also known that that would have changed the information to make you do something else entirely. So that's a sort of, I guess, one of those strange paradoxes, infinite regress of new information constantly being added and the machine having to account for that, and I'm pretty sure that any machine would just run out of computing power, and it would literally take an infinite amount of computing power to make such a prediction. Interestingly enough, if you were not fated to have read those things, then the machine would be able to use a finite amount of computing power to make a perfect printout. But if the two conditions apply, that you do read it and that you are the kind of person who would go against it, then it would simply be impossible to make such a printout because there are an infinite number of changes of information to account for. So those are my thoughts on this. I hope you have a great day, and see ya.